what's up guys? Josh here from thebitblock.com with your video review for Mario Sports Mix on the Wii. And as far as I know, this is actually the very first video review for the game, so I'm very excited about that. And hopefully you guys can walk away from this video review much more informed and aware of what you can expect from Mario Sports Mix when it comes out in early 2011 in North America, Europe, and Australia. So far it seems like it's going to be out in January, February, that general area. So a little bit of a wait, so this is a good sneak peek for you. The cool thing about Mario Sports Mix when compared to past Mario Sports games is that usually they would only focus on one sport, you know, tennis or golf. Now, however, you actually get 4 sports for the price of 1. You can play dodgeball, basketball, hockey, or volleyball in Mario Sports Mix, so that's very cool. Of course, the question is then whether or not they feel as fleshed out as a game that would just focus on one sport. So definitely something we will address in this video review. It's developed by Square Enix, and you can play with 1 to 4 people. There's a challenge mode that you can play by yourself or with a couple people accompanying you. There is Wi-Fi support for up to 4 players. You can play with 2 people on each Wii system, so that's pretty cool. There's a lot to talk about here. Let's not waste any more time. Let's jump into our video review and get a better idea in terms of what Mario Sports Mix is all about. With a total of 4 sports to choose from, you'll have a hard time getting bored with Mario Sports Mix. Naturally, you might not find all of them to be amazing, but you're bound to really like at least a couple. Personally, I find dodgeball and hockey to be tons of fun. Dodgeball keeps the basic concept of, well, dodging a ball, and adds in some elements to the sport to make it work in a video game. For example, each character has a power bar that needs to be worn down in order to eliminate that player from the game. To throw the dodgeball, you simply flick your Wii Remote forward. To grab an incoming ball, you need to pinch the A and B buttons at just the right moment to catch it and avoid taking damage. Pressing the A button allows players to jump, and shaking the Wii Remote when you don't have the ball will pull off a dodge move. You can also leap into the air and then slam the dodgeball down on your opponents to cause some massive damage to them. Just make sure you land the hit, otherwise you're on their side of the playing field and have to run back to your own, thus leaving yourself open for some well-deserved payback. Each team also has a Yoshi on the opposite side of the court that you can pass the dodgeball to. It mixes things up and gives you the chance to battle from both sides of the arena. Collecting coins in dodgeball builds up your power, meaning when you hit an opponent it will do more damage. If a player is knocked out of the game, they're then placed on the opponent's sideline. That player is not completely out of the fun though, because you can pass the ball to them, and if they manage to hit an enemy player, they'll return to the game with just a little bit of power. Basketball is also a lot of fun, and actually much more fun than other basketball games that have released recently. You can shoot from 3-pointers, slam dunk, and of course work with your teammate to perform very epic alley-oops. You can even pull off juke moves to get around the other team and take a shot. In true Mario Sports tradition, there are no fouls here, which means if you want to bash your opponents in the face as they go up for a slam dunk, go for it. In fact, it's encouraged. Volleyball plays pretty much just how you would probably imagine it would. To hit the ball up, you flick up on the Wii Remote, and to send it across, you flick back down. It works really well, and it's a lot of fun. You'll know where the ball is going to land by the colored circle that appears on your side of the net when the opposing team returns it. Volleyball is definitely a sport where the technique-based characters really come in handy, as they can send the ball back with a bizarre curve that tricks up the other players. And finally, there is hockey. The interesting thing about hockey is that in 95% of the stadiums, you're actually using rollerblades instead of skates. That really has no meaning, I just felt like, I don't know, pointing it out. Just like in the real sport, hockey involves a whole lot of bashing into each other to steal the puck by shaking the Wii Remote. You can charge up your shot and aim where you're going to shoot just before you shake the Wii Remote to hit it. The goalies are shy guys, and in all honesty, they're pretty stupid. Do not rely on these guys to block a ton of shots. Your own manual defense is key to winning here in hockey. Every character in the game has their own special ability that can be used once your power bar has built up on the bottom of the screen. For example, Luigi will pull out his trusty Poltergust 3000 and suck players in towards him. Junior's messy paint causes opponents to slip around, Toad's spinning mushrooms will bump into the other players, and obviously there's a ton more. I've heard many people asking this, and I am more than happy to be able to say that these special moves are definitely avoidable by the other players. So it's not like these crazy over-the-top moves are making the game unbalanced. They are, however, making the game a lot more fun to play, and they do add in a little bit more strategy. The graphics in the game are very colorful and have a nice amount of cartoonish detail in every court. In fact, what impresses me most here in the entire game are the many various locations you can play in and how they're altered a bit for each sport. Just a quick example, here's Daisy's Garden in basketball. The theme here is that you shoot the ball into Petey Piranha's mouth, but he'll close it at times, so your timing is very important. Now, that same court in dodgeball, once again, Petey plays a part in the stage, but now the idea is that when he opens his mouth, you can feed him the dodgeball and watch him spit it back at your opponents. It's a pretty hilarious little feature. Toad Park is based in a carnival and even has little Toad characters racing around you in go-karts. The gimmick here are traffic cones that can be used as shelter in dodgeball, or in hockey, they actually replace the goalie, forcing players to smash through them to score. DK Dock is all about shifting log platforms, and obviously, as you can see here, it's based on a river in the jungle. One really cute, extra little visual detail here is that when the platforms shift around, they even knock the referee Toad in the background into the river. Waluigi Pinball is a very awesome stage, obviously somewhat based on the now classic Mario Kart DS track. It features a giant mecha Waluigi that vomits up pinballs onto the court. You heard me correctly. A giant mecha Waluigi that vomits pinballs onto the stadium. Game of the year, my friends. I seriously wish I had hours to go on and on about the different courts and their cool little features, but sadly, we don't have that kind of time here. It is worth mentioning that not every theme can be played in every court. For example, Waluigi Pinball doesn't have a basketball court. That is kind of lame, but there is about a total of 12 stages for each sport, so it's more than enough to keep you happy. Overall, Mario Sports Mix is easily one of the best looking Mario sports games. The characters are well designed, their animations are really good, and the game's levels are loaded with personality and extra visual details. The soundtrack in Sports Mix is kind of a mix itself, meaning some of the music is pretty catchy, while some of it is just kind of noise in the background. For example, the main menu music adds in Mario sound effects to a pretty killer beat. Now, obviously, music is something that really depends on personal taste, but I think most would agree that these tracks are kind of bleh. This one, for example, doesn't even sound close to Mario music at all. Don't worry though, because the game does have its share of high-quality Mario sports jingles. Here's a few examples of some of my personal favorites. The Square Enix characters have kind of poor voice actors. For example, the Red Ninja sounds like Teddy Ruxpin. Isn't this guy supposed to be like some threatening, cool ninja? Alright! Like I said, the musical side of this game is kind of up and down. Overall, though, it works and comes together pretty nicely. Personally, I do think that Mario Hoops on the DS and a few other Mario sports games had a better soundtrack, though. One good feature here is that you can play any of the 4 sports in Mario Sports Mix on Wi-Fi with up to 4 people, having 2 players on each Wii system. Keep in mind that for this review, we've only been able to play against Japanese players on Wi-Fi, and we're based, in America. Even so, we experienced only minimal lag, and in most cases, the games were perfectly playable. You can also check out stats on Wi-Fi that show how well you're doing in each of the sports. The game also has a tournament mode for 1 to 3 players locally. It's basically, a very simple tournament where you play matches against computer players and try to earn a trophy at the end of the cup. You can even take alternate routes here to unlock bonus secrets like alternate colors for characters. Basically, they're like the color swaps in Super Smash Bros. Brawl. This mode, honestly, can become pretty boring and it is somewhat flawed. For example, the computer player's AI is painfully terrible here. We actually got to the point where we would score about 60 points in a sport and then leave the room and let the game sit there because we didn't feel like playing anymore. And sure enough, when we returned about 5 minutes later, we had won the match by like 50 points. I do want to point out that unlocking content in this game is a sad, painful chore. For example, if you unlock the Bowser's Castle Court in Dodgeball, you also have to unlock it in volleyball and hockey. So imagine that. You have to unlock every secret level multiple times to play it in every sport. The same even goes for the characters. You unlocked the slime in Dodgeball? Great, now unlock it in the other 3 sports as well. And unlock the colors in all of the sports as well. And yes, by the way, I did say you can unlock a slime from Dragon Quest. In fact, all of the secret characters are from Square Enix games, mostly Final Fantasy. I will spare you a massive rant here from a Mario fanboy, but this is flat out stupid. It's a Mario sports game where you unlock no Mario characters, and instead you get stuff like a Moogle and a ninja. If they had included Mario characters to unlock as well, I wouldn't find this so crazy stupid, but they didn't, so it is. Now there's also a total of 4 party games to check out. Each one is themed after a sport in the game. The hockey-themed game has you bashing the other players off the stage. Think bumper balls from Mario Party, but now with hockey sticks. Basketball's minigame involves tossing fruit into the drooling, hungry mouth of Petey Piranha. The volleyball game is music-themed and has all 4 players working together as a team to continue returning the balls to keep the music flowing. And finally, the dodgeball game has players just basically attempting to survive in a small court while bob-ombs are raining down upon you. It's kind of fun, and it does get very frantic with, 3 other human players. Mario Sports Mix has some shortcomings in terms of quality, but in the end, it really does continue the tradition of crazy multiplayer fun that the Mario Sports games have always been about. Wi-Fi support is great, and based on my experience, it works pretty well. All of the courts are designed very good and offer up cool gimmicks, and you can even play as your Mii. The tournament mode is a bit uninspired and, maybe can get old fast. Final Fantasy characters running amok on the character selection screen is pointless, and unlocking levels and characters 4 times for each sport is, beyond annoying. But overall, the 4 sports included here, while simple, are a lot of fun to play with friends and family. No, none of these sports can, stand up on their own, but hey, they're not trying to. That's why they're mixed together. Whether you're biffing a friend in the face with a dodgeball, melting the ice in hockey with Bowser's Flames, slam dunking Luigi's entire body in basketball, or spiking a volleyball into a Moogle's ugly, evil face, Mario Sports Mix is definitely a lot of fun.